We begin with President Trump's mission to China. He had his first meeting with Chinese President Xi. Iran high in the agenda, and Xi delivered a tough warning on Taiwan. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is in Beijing with the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. And so far, this summit has had all of the pomp and ceremony that you would expect from the leaders of the two most powerful nations. But hanging over all of this, as you said, the war in Iran, and now that new stark warning from China to the U.S.
Overnight, the high-stakes handshake between superpowers. Chinese President Xi welcoming President Trump back to China for the first time in nearly a decade. Rolling out the red carpet. Chinese children there to greet Trump. After the pomp, Trump heaping praise on Xi.
You're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true.
Sitting with their delegations at an expansive negotiating table, Xi saying they should be partners, not adversaries, that their common interests outweigh their differences. But the pleasantries a stark contrast to the challenges facing this critical relationship. In their over 2-hour meeting, Xi delivering a stark warning to Trump about Taiwan, which Beijing claims is its own territory. According to China's state media, Xi telling Trump if the issue is handled poorly, the two countries will collide or even clash. Trump tight-lipped.
How were your talks, sir?
It's great.
Did you talk about Taiwan?
Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Trump hoped to use their sit-down to seal deals on trade and technology, bringing along with him over a dozen American business leaders, including Elon Musk and Apple's Tim Cook. But those ambitions overshadowed by the ongoing war with Iran. China is one of Iran's closest allies, buying more Iranian oil than any other country. And while Trump has said he doesn't need President Xi's help to end the war, his own Secretary of State saying it topped the agenda. Trump pressing China to urge Iran back to the table and to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
We hope to convince them to play a more active role in getting Iran to walk away from what they're doing now and trying to do now in the Persian Gulf.
This morning, the White House saying the two sides agreed that the Strait of Hormuz must remain open to support the free flow of energy. Iran's chokehold on the strait now strangling the global economy, sending gas prices soaring back home and inflation spiking. Americans' budgets stretching thinner and thinner. In Los Angeles Wednesday, more than 2,000 families lining up at a food distribution center before supplies ran out.
It's really bad. That's why we're here. You know, prices are going sky high. Everything's really pricey, even the gas and everything. So it makes it a little bit hard.
And the two leaders wrapping up their first day with a lavish state banquet here, toasting to their special relationship. And President Trump returning the favor, just inviting President Xi to visit the White House at the end of September. Now, tomorrow will include another round of meetings, but it remains to be seen if they're making any real progress on the thorny issues, including trade and, of course, the war in Iran. Michael.
Yeah, we know if they do, you'll bring it to us, Mary. Thank you so much for your reporting. We're going to turn now to breaking news overnight, the hantavirus outbreak. The one American who tested positive for the virus has been cleared to move out of isolation in Nebraska after testing negative. Victor Oquendo's in Omaha with the latest for us. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Michael. That passenger, Dr. Stephen Kornfeld, stepped in to help care for the sick when the ship's doctor fell ill. He has now been cleared to move to a room inside of the quarantine unit. This as the CDC shares their message to all 16 inside of the University of Nebraska Medical Center.
This morning, as the race to contain the hantavirus intensifies, the CDC now urging those in quarantine at the University of Nebraska Medical Center to remain the full 42 days. As we are now learning more about the first and only American to initially test positive from the cruise ship. Dr. Stephen Kornfeld was a passenger on board the MV Hondius, stepping up to serve as the ship's doctor after the original one contracted the virus. Kornfeld saying he felt like he was coming down with the flu, one of his samples taken on the cruise ship later testing positive for hantavirus.
This is a very secure facility, so if I am to get sick and spill virus, there's no way that virus is getting out of this building.
Overnight, his most recent PCR test coming back negative. He's now out of the biocontainment unit. He's one of 16 Americans being evaluated in Omaha. Jake Rosemarin among them too, documenting the quarantine process.
Here's my thermometer. Turn it on. I have to put on my mask so I can show the nurses that my temperature is all good. High, no symptoms, 98.6.
The CDC saying more than 100 officials are working around the clock on this outbreak, with nearly a dozen states monitoring at least 18 people.
Worldwide, there are 10 cases, all of them passengers on that ship, including a woman from France. She is in the intensive care unit in Paris being treated by an artificial lung. Robin?
Oh my goodness, we're hoping that all will make a full recovery. Victor, thank you. We're going to turn now to breaking news. Russia launching the biggest air attack on Ukraine since the war began, after a 3-day ceasefire expired. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, has the very latest on this massive attack. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. That's right. It was an unprecedented wave of attacks, and Ukrainian officials warning more could be on the way. Vladimir Putin, remember, last week hinting this war could be coming to an end. And as you know, President Trump promising to stop the fighting. But these attacks sending a very different message.
This has been the biggest sustained attack on Ukraine since the war began. Wave after wave after wave of devastating Russian drone and missile attacks across the country. More than 1,600 in total since Wednesday night. This video showing a drone slamming into a railway yard close to President Zelensky's hometown, Kryvyi Rih. Putin's military striking energy, water and transport infrastructure, but also hitting residential buildings. The capital, Kyiv, repeatedly hit. This 9-story residential building collapsing after a Russian drone strike. Rescue workers scrambling through the debris, searching for survivors. At least 20 sites suffering damage in the city, including a school, according to President Zelensky. At least 15 killed and more than 130 injured across the country. Vladimir Putin using the cover of the Trump-Xi summit to launch this devastating attack. Unusually, the barrage saw hundreds of drones attack Ukraine throughout the daylight hours, before overnight Russia following up with nearly 50 missiles. Zelensky in a post saying the attack showed the hollowness of Putin's comments last weekend, suggesting the war could be finishing, saying these are definitely not the actions of those who believe the war is coming to an end. Meanwhile, Russia on the back foot on the battlefield, losing tens of thousands of soldiers every month, killed or wounded, and failing to advance.
Well, we're just hearing at least 20 people are missing in Kyiv under that collapsed building, so we should expect the death toll to rise further. This attack, of course, coming amid signs that things are starting to turn against Putin in this war. A string of recent polls showing his approval rating has fallen to its lowest since the invasion. Russia, of course, is losing tens of thousands of men every month. The economy's suffering, and he's making no headway on the battlefield. For now, though, there is no end in sight, but the pressure on Russia appears to be growing. George?
It certainly does. Okay, Ian, thanks very much. We're going to go back home now. Ginger's here, middle of the country facing a real threat.
Yes, and not just today or tomorrow, but for the next 6 days. The Storm Prediction Center have put out these areas that we show you often, but I want you to really key into because it's been a busy start to the week already. Salt Lake City, Utah, some of the more than 265 severe storm reports. Most of them were damaging wind that took out power lines. There were power outages from there through Idaho into Montana. And in Logan, or close to Logan, Utah, on US 91, there was a multi-vehicle pileup. 7 people were injured. That's because of a dust storm that was kicked up by all of those winds. Today, it is a level 2 out of 5 for eastern Kansas. So a place like Salina, Wichita, Topeka, Lawrence may end up with the damaging winds and mostly large hail. That's the one. The supercells could move slowly. Then through tomorrow, Kansas City into southern Iowa starts to get in on the action of that level 2 out of 5. Then we kind of put it all together because there are so many days in advance, but it kind of centers on the same region. Eastern Nebraska from Kearney to Omaha, Sioux Falls, Cedar Rapids, back down to Kansas City. Through this weekend, we've got the threat of large hail, damaging wind, and then the tornadoes get in there too. Michael.
All right, Ginger, thank you. And we're going to turn now to the rare bipartisan effort to combat sexual misconduct in Congress. Jay O'Brien is on Capitol Hill. Good morning, Jay.
Michael, good morning to you. This is a rare bipartisan partnership, as you say, between the top Republican and Democrat in the House, Speaker Mike Johnson and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, aimed at combating sexual misconduct on Capitol Hill. It will be led by 2 female members of the House, Democrat Teresa Legger Fernandez and Republican Kat Kamek, with the goal of identifying reforms and solutions to make Congress safer for staff. Speaker Johnson writing, quote, "To state the obvious, all women should feel comfortable and safe working in the halls of Congress. As a father who has 2 daughters working on Capitol Hill, this is as personal to me as it is to anyone. It comes amid a reckoning about sexual misconduct in Congress after the recent resignations of Democrat Eric Swalwell, accused of sexual assault and misconduct, which he denies, and Republican Tony Gonzalez, who admitted to an affair with a female staffer. There are also still active House ethics investigations into a number of members, including Republican Chuck Edwards of North Carolina. Axios reports the investigation is connected in part to his alleged treatment of female staff, including allegations of unwanted attention, gifts, and written letters. Edwards has denied any wrongdoing and said the allegations are politically motivated. Robin.
So good that both sides are coming together to put an end to this. All right, Jay. Thank you. Now, new video of what one Air Force pilot called a miraculous rescue of 11 people after their plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. Matt Rivers is here with that story for us. Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, Robin. That rescue chopper found the victims just minutes before they would run out of fuel and be forced to turn back for home. It was a scene rescuers hoped for but didn't expect. All 11 souls on board a flight that crash landed in the Atlantic Ocean found alive.
Aircraft incidents are very dangerous. Oftentimes, it's been my experience, there's not a lot of success in finding people alive.
Miraculously, all 10 passengers and 1 pilot surviving in a life raft for 5 hours with only minor injuries. The small twin turboprop was flying between islands in the Bahamas when officials say there was some kind of engine failure. The pilot sending an emergency distress signal.
Pilot did what we call a ditch, which is basically a controlled landing into the ocean.
The Coast Guard then alerting an Air Force rescue team, which happened to be in the area conducting training for this exact kind of rescue.
This is what we train to do day in and day out.
As we entered the scene, the last known location of the survivors, we were immediately able to get eyes on them, the group of people in the raft there.
The rescue team locating the group about 80 miles east of Melbourne, Florida. The team dropping additional rafts and supplies.
Once we got on scene, we low and slowed into the water and swam to the raft. We were able to use our hoist and our basket to get everyone safely from the raft to the aircraft.
Now, the group was taken to a nearby hospital, miraculously only sustaining minor injuries. The Coast Guard commending the pilot for getting everybody out of the plane safely. And Bahamian authorities and the FAA will be investigating the cause of this incident. George, a good news story to start the day.
Sure is. Okay, Matt, thanks very much. Now to a major rail strike looming, a shutdown that could impact hundreds of thousands of commuters. Sam, you've got the details.
Georgia could be potentially a big one. The Long Island Railroad is the busiest commuter rail system in North America, running 24/7 between New York City and Long Island. But it could come to a screeching halt this weekend. Some 3,500 workers are threatening to walk off the job Saturday morning if an agreement is not reached. So the sticking point is money. The unions are demanding cost of living raises, but the Metropolitan Transit Authority says that would lead to huge fare hikes for riders. The LARR carries nearly 300,000 riders per day, guys. And if a strike does happen, the MTA is already urging people to work from home if possible. Otherwise, they could take shuttle buses into Queens, connect with the subways, or they could drive. Braving the notorious traffic in the region, we all know it is also notorious. It's like the world's largest parking lot, the Long Island Expressway. The last LIRR strike was in 1994. It lasted 2 days until the governor stepped in to resolve it.
Well, hopefully this one doesn't get to that point. Yeah. And we're gonna go now to the NBA playoffs. In Game 5 between the Pistons and Cavs, it was a good win. And I know Will, I don't know if you were up as late as I was trying to watch it. That was a great game.
I watched the whole thing. I'm dragging a little bit this morning.
Turned it off and it went to overtime.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, hopefully the strike ends before the Knicks series starts because the LIRR gets in there. But let's find out who might play the Knicks in the conference finals. Still got a ways to go here. It was Game 5 between Detroit and Cleveland. The series tied at 2. Neither team between the Pistons or Cavs had won on the road all series, and that looked like it would be the case here. Cleveland down 9 with just over 2 minutes left, but they clawed back to bring it to overtime. Wow. That is where superstar Donovan Mitchell took charge. He finished with 21 points, played really well, and former MVP James Harden, whose playoff performances have been much maligned, he stepped up last night, 30 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. The Cavs ending up with their first road win of the playoffs, and they're one more win away from facing the Knicks in the conference finals. But the Pistons are 3-0 when facing elimination in these playoffs. Remember, they came back from 3-1 down to the Magic. Speaking of the Knicks, by the way, it's not all bad news here for them. They are resting up for the conference finals, and They got some good news in their downtime. OG Anunoby back on the court. You see him there practicing yesterday. He strained his hamstring in Game 2 against the 76ers. ESPN, though, reporting the Knicks are optimistic he'll be ready to go for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, which will either begin on May 17th or 19th, depending on how long this Detroit-Cleveland series goes.
Yeah, the Knicks are saying, Cleveland and Detroit, take your time.
Yeah, keep going.
We'll get around to it.
Absolutely.
Some news out of the WNBA as well.
Yes, big news here. So the Connecticut Sun, the league has approved that the Sun can be sold and moved to Houston. They will be called the Comets.
Wow.
So we've got a new Houston Comets. Remember the old Houston Comets?
Yeah,
the original.
Big Three.
They were one of the original WNBA franchises. They won 4 straight titles between 1997 and 2000. They then disbanded in 2008. But what's old is new again. They're bringing them back.
They had a great fan base, winning the first 4 WNBA titles, and you saw the Big Three right there.
Yep.
Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson.
Yeah, what a team.
Oh, my gosh. And Cynthia Cooper. She started that Raise the Roof thing. I remember that very well.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that.